Streets Ice Cream, which is Tommy Wiseau's The Room of Ice Cream. Buffalo Bill, so bad it's good. Ha. They just told 140 of their workers,
So, you like lifting boxes, do you?
No, Patrick. This job worse than what's inside the box. Blue Ribbon Napolitana.
I was trying to frame this as a you do what you love even if you had to do it for free thing, but I seem to have once again mistaken factory workers for Van Gogh. Look, we're cutting your pay like that robot in Alien. No! In half.
This is the Napolitana ice cream of news. It's very lame.
But we cannot continue with the current situation. It's simply not sustainable.
Streets Ice Cream, part of Unilever, a highly profitable multinational corporation, said that. That is like Mr. Burns saying,
Naturally, I can't pay you much of a reward because I'm strapped for cash. As you can see, this old place is falling apart.
Then there's the workers at AGL, Australian Giant Leeches, who are cutting their staff's wages at a Victorian power station by 65%. 65%? That is a figure so high that even if you switch those numbers around, it's still higher than me, man. And you would think, even if for just PR reasons, the Liberal Party would at least feign sympathy about these employees all over the nation having their wages cut by massive amounts. But their spokeswoman, Michelle Cash, aka Evil Effie, said, before the Fair Work Commission can terminate an agreement, it must take into account a number of matters, and a strong set of rules applies for terminating agreements. Let's do what Sam Harris would if he was one of the workers at Streets and unpack this. Aldi Margaret Thatcher here is saying that cutting an employee's wage by 2/3 is fair because the Fair Work Commission, which she personally stacked with Liberal Party members and big business lobbyists, says it's fair. That is like McDonald's saying,
$2.20 for a hash brown is... You can't find a better deal than that.
who says?
Grimace.
What is Grimace? The final stage in man's evolution, from ape to grape. This is how unfair the Fair Work Commission is. The number of appeals has risen from 156 in 2014 to 517 in 2016. And the reason for this sharp increase is the Liberals have made it so easy for businesses to cut their staff's wages that it's now about as annoying as it is for you to get your rego renewed. Yes, I'd like to talk to someone about cutting my staff's wages, please. Just put me on hold again. Unbelievable. Businesses know the Fair Work Commission will ignore the circumstances of workers, right? While every credible economist, even those from the World Bank, are saying that the solution to most of our economic problems would be to increase wages, and yet the Liberals have presided over the lowest wages increase in history, 1.9%. The cost of living raised 2.1% this year. So clearly, jobs and growth, not the Liberals' thing. You know whose thing it is? Unions. Unlike the average worker who seems to have the same strategy as a pig in a slaughterhouse.
No, I'll just continue doing nothing. It's been so unsuccessful in the past, it's due for a win.
Union workers have skilled representatives working in their interests, and so what a surprise, they, unlike the rest of the Australian workforce, beat the cost of living of 2.1%. Their wages increased by 2.7%. They beat the average Australian worker's salary by nearly 1%. The average Australian worker is 0.3% worse off. The average union worker is 0.6% better off. So don't listen to the informational sewerage system that is the Murdoch Press and BuzzFeed when they spew out these corporate-funded conspiracy theories that,
Ooh, unions are corrupt and also nowhere near as important as Beck Hewitt.
it's a load of shit. Even after a royal commission into union corruption that the media seem to be even more intensely interested in than if Princess Kate gave birth to a baby that was a piece of toast that looks like Macklemore. As always, I have a really controversial opinion. If your child is allergic to peanuts, don't spread that peanut butter on me. And yet when the final verdict on union corruption was handed down, the media's interest, like a cuttlefish. Now you see me, now you don't! I could only find one back page article. One, explaining that unions are the least corrupt institution in Australia, as in the entire movement, there was one criminal. We have more famous Veronicas than that. There's a reason these turds that have learned to type at BuzzFeed are willing to kick unions relentlessly over nothing, but when it comes to reporting on Streets Ice Cream cutting their employees' wages in half, LOL, they refuse to report on it. Why? Because Streets Ice Cream is a sponsor of BuzzFeed. No wonder all of their genetic defect reporters tested hundreds of points lower in testosterone than the average male, because they're fucking ballsless. And the clowns at the Fair Work Commission, they're not interested in what's fair. They think that cutting staff's wages by 2/3 is...
What am I? Where would you find me?
Oh, fair?
And that's what I think about your pay getting cut by 2/3. Fair. But get out of here before I spank your butt!
And as for Michela Cash,
Well, her last name is Cash, so maybe she'll get some of that for me.
the only institution that is inherently interested in protecting your standard of living is the unions, and that's why you've got to join. Not only has it been proven to be better for you financially, but when a company like CUB tries to pull this halving your wage shit, and the Fair Work Commission, the government, and the media all turn their backs on those workers at that plant, the union said, fuck that, strike, and they won. Ditto with Streets. The unions are calling for a boycott on all Streets products until they pay their workers properly. So unless you want to be as fucking lame as New South Wales young liberals,
I'm a rat, and a very clever rat.
cornettos are a cornet no, as are Clippos, Magnums, and Paddle Pops. But come on, as if anyone was eating banana-flavoured Paddle Pops anyway.
Please press the subscribe button now.
Come on.